price of fame. Life is like a dice game.
And maintaining the check me out, listen, life's a gamble. Although the stakes are heightened, I can handle any darkness that tries to penetrate. My light is ample, set the right example. My dark dreams are divine. I live life on this earth to complete what's assigned. My mission given, I was birthed the same year as it was written. I've been fasting intermittent to strengthen my intuition. And sometimes shit you'll run out of luck. But how my dice roll, from dominoes to maestros, to completing life goals, my price rose as soon as I decided to never ever be misguided. I know that's indicted from the shit they confided with their best friends until they seen that paperwork writing. Life's a if this connection is the price of bliss, though elation often leads to paths of righteousness. I confess, I woke up feeling blessed, no stress, with the freedom to express, but shit was that. I wake up every morning thinking what I'm about to do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Hey, hey. Life is like a dice game. Hey, 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 hey.
You know what I'm saying? Life is like a, you know what I'm saying, a dice game. But you know what I'm saying? I don't gamble. You dig what I'm saying? I'd rather spend my money on stuff, you know, that pleasure me, my pleasure, you know. Women, we started out 150 dime bags in mama house, making 500 a week, thinking about dropping out. Sold dope in front of my brother, but he a doctor now. This week, Greg showed me just what that rock about. Whip game, I got a thing for cooking crack, man. Off a dub on them scribblers, I make it back, man. Feds with the IRS on me, they said the tax, man. Streets cold, ain't nothing cut though like the rap game. Do you wanna be in it, wanna be Senate? Facade, wanna be winning. I said being famous from the beginning. Big rabbit, Instagram wanna ban me for posting pictures. So I wake up in the morning thinking what I'm gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way. They keep changing the price of cane. Life is like a dice game. I wake up, hit the call, I think of getting something new today. Aston Martin blue today. These tripping, so I ride with that thing. Life is like a dice game. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. I never knock a brother, I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill, locked in a human flesh shell. Watch it get rich beside me, pushing the fly VY me, up in the passenger seat. But I see me as Haile Selassie in my kingdom, sipping Asti Spumante, drifting, reality kicks in. I need the pace to start clicking, gotta connect out in Richmond. Ain't in the fam of pitching is on, word is born, that's my name, Big Nas. All wise and civilized, from the northern hemisphere of the earth. Peace to my son and thanks to the birth of destiny. That's her name. It's going on. You know my name. Big Nas in the house, y'all. On the freestyle tip. When I finish this shit, it's sure to be a hit. This original recording hit the street by 93. Was just a leak. The verse was incomplete. Reconstructed the beat so we could fuck up the street. Back to the future. Patch up the bloopers. Match up the cadence with the back in the day. A blast of nasty nouns with Savia. Don't act surprised. This ain't for advertising. Showing off. I blast with mine. Life is a dice roll, there's money on the ground. What's gonna happen is gonna happen, it's a gamble all around. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Life is like a dice game. Yo. Yeah. It's that. It's that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 It's the NAS. Yes. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game.
And maintaining the check me out, listen, life's a gamble. Although the stakes are heightened, I can handle any darkness that tries to penetrate. My light is ample, set the right example. My dark dreams are divine. I live life on this earth to complete what's assigned. My mission given, I was birthed the same year as it was written. I've been fasting intermittent to strengthen my intuition. And sometimes shit you'll run out of luck, but how my dice roll from dominoes to maestros to completing life goals. My price rose as soon as I decided to never ever be misguided. I know that's indicted from the shit they confided with their best friends until they seen that paperwork writing. Life's objective, disconnection is the price of bliss. Though elation often leads to paths of righteousness, I confess. I woke up feeling blessed, no stress with the freedom to express, but shit was I wake up every morning thinking what I'm about to do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Hey, hey, life is like a dice game. Hey, 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 hey.
You know what I'm saying? Life is like a, you know what I'm saying, a dice game, but you know what I'm saying? I don't gamble. You dig what I'm saying? I'd rather spend my money on stuff, you know, that pleasure me, my pleasure, you know. Women, we started out 150 dime bags in mama house, making 500 a week, thinking about dropping out. Sold dope in front of my brother, but he a doctor now. This week, Greg showed me just what that rock about. Whip game, I got a thing for cooking crack, man. Off a dub on them scribblers, I make it back, man. Feds with the IRS on me, they said the tax, man. Streets cold, ain't nothing cut, those like the rap game. Do you wanna be in it, wanna be Senate? Facade, wanna be winning. I said being famous from the beginning. Big rabbit, Instagram wanna ban me for posting pictures. So I wake up in the morning thinking what I'm gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way. They keep changing the price of cane. Life is like a dice game. I wake up, hit the call, I think of getting something new today. Aston Martin blue today. You tripping, so I ride with that thing. Life is like a dice game. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Yeah. I never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill locked in a human flesh shell. Watching get rich beside me. Pushing the fly VY me. Up in the passenger seat. But I see me as Haile Selassie in my kingdom. Sipping I see Spumanti. Drifting. Reality kicks in. I need the patience start clicking. Gotta connect out in Richmond. Ain't in the fam of pitching. It's on. Word is born. That's my name, Big Nas. All wise and civilized. From the northern hemisphere of the earth. Peace to my son and thanks to the birth of destiny. That's a name. It's going on. You know my name. Big Nas in the house, y'all. On the freestyle tip. When I finish this shit, it's sure to be a hit. This original recording hit the street by 93. Was just a leak. The verse was incomplete. Reconstructed the beat so we could fuck up the street. Back to the future. Patch up the bloopers. Match up the cadence with the back in the day. A blast of nasty nouns with Savia. Don't act surprised. This ain't for advertising. Showing off. I blast for mine. Life is a dice roll. There's money on the ground. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. It's a gamble all around. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Life is like a dice game. Yo. Yeah. It's that. It's that. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game.
And maintaining check me out, listen. Life's a gamble. Although the stakes are heightened, I can handle any darkness that tries to penetrate. My light is ample, set the right example. My doctrines are divine. I live life on this earth to complete what's assigned. My mission given. I was birthed the same year as it was written. I've been fasting intermittent to strengthen my intuition. And sometimes shit you'll run out of luck, but how my dice roll, from dominoes to maestros, to completing life goals. My price rose as soon as I decided to never ever be misguided. I know that's indicted from the shit they confided with their best friends until they seen that paperwork writing. Life's a if disconnection is the price of bliss, though elation often leads to paths of righteousness. I confess. I woke up feeling blessed, no stress, with the freedom to express, but sure was that. I wake up every morning thinking what I'm about to do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Hey, hey. Life is like a dice game. Hey, 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 hey.
You know what I'm saying? Life is like a, you know what I'm saying, a dice game, but you know what I'm saying? I don't gamble. You dig what I'm saying? I'd rather spend my money on stuff, you know, that pleasure me, my pleasure, you know. Women, we started out 150 dime bags in mama house, making 500 a week, thinking about dropping out. Sold dope in front of my brother, but he a doctor now. This week, Greg showed me just what that rock about. Whip game, I got a thing for cooking crack, man. Off a dub on them scribblers, I make it back, man. Fans with the IRS on me, they said the tax, man. Streets cold, ain't nothing cut though like the rap game. Do you wanna be in it, wanna be sent it? Facade, wanna be winning. I said being famous from the beginning. Big rabbit, Instagram wanna ban me for posting pictures. So I wake up in the morning thinking what I'm gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to keep changing the price of cane. Life is like a dice game. I wake up, hit the call, I think of getting something new today. Aston Martin blue today. You tripping, so I ride with that thing. Life is like a dice game. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Yeah. I never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill locked in a human flesh shell. Watch it get rich beside me. Pushing the fly B, why me? Up in the passenger seat. But I see me as Haile Selassie in my kingdom. Sipping I see Spumanti. Drifting, reality kicks in. I need the paper start clicking. Gotta connect out in Richmond. Ain't in the fam of pitching. It's on. Word is born. That's my name, Big Nas. All wise and civilized from the northern hemisphere of the earth. Peace to my son and thanks to the birth of destiny. That's a name. It's going on. You know my name, Big Nas in the house, y'all. On a freestyle tip. When I finish this shit, it's sure to be a hit. This original recording hit the street by 93 was just a leak. The verse was incomplete, reconstructed the beat so we could fuck up the street. Back to the future, patch up the bloopers, match up the cadence with the back in the day. A blast of nasty nouns with Savia, don't act surprised. This ain't for advertising, showing off, I blast for mine. Life is a dice roll, there's money on the ground. What's gonna happen is gonna happen, it's a gamble all around. I wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. To maintain is the price of fame. Life is like a dice game. Life is like a dice game.
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is March 3rd, 2023. And Bitcoin dumped yesterday. We didn't see that, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I did not foresee this move down. It was a substantial move down, but it wasn't the end of the world, okay? It doesn't, outright invalidate my bullish bias because no major support was broken here, okay? I actually have redrawn my channel because if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll know that my channel looked something like this, okay? So I had us at this, something like, let me see if I can get it. Something like this, okay? And so we came down. But I think a more accurate representation of this price action is this, okay? Am I cheating? Am I just trying to force an agenda on the chart? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think this fits. This looks better. This seems like it makes sense. One of the reasons, and this is what I learned, okay, every time you take a loss or you something confuses you on the chart and something happens that you didn't foresee, I believe it's a great opportunity to learn something. I learned two things. First thing I learned was that in a leading diagonal, the wave and the counter wave, so wave 1 and wave 2, can retrace however much they want. I was under the impression that still in a leading diagonal, wave 2 and wave 4 would respect at least the phi ratio of wave 1 and wave 3, okay? And that's not the case, and I actually went back, looked it up in, Procter and Frost, looked it up in, any other manual that I use commonly, and that's true, okay? So that's something I learned. Maybe I knew it before, but I didn't really know it because I wasn't trading like I knew it, yeah? So I learned that in leading diagonals, it can look like this, just choppy mess, where the corrective waves can retrace almost 100% of the previous wave. But the other thing I learned is that even though you can retrace beyond the phi ratio, in the leading diagonal, you cannot make a lower low or a higher high. Lower low if you're bullish, higher high if you're bearish. So this was the low set by wave 1. Wave 2 can't come down below this. Wave 4 can't come down below this. Okay, so those are the two things I learned. So next time I see this, it's going to be easy to remember. Why? Because it's emotionally bonded. Where, I had 9 trades stopped out yesterday. And seven of those were stopped out in profit, so I actually made money. But I had to go through and re-enter a lot of different trades. Like, I want to be in those trades, so I went through the task of re-entering them and going through the charts and making sure I got good entries and protected my position, all that stuff. And then 2 of them I took a loss on because I entered during this period in the last 2 weeks where price had just been going down in this purported wave 4. So that's what happened to me. I actually ended up making more than I lost yesterday, substantially more, and I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on my bullish bias because I still do believe that in the scheme of things, when I zoom out, this is extremely bullish. This is still a sign of strength to me. This is still a consolidation at resistance. This is still corrective of a larger impulse, right? For me, this is the impulse. This is the trend. This is the counter trend. This is the counter trend. So I'm trading the trend. I'm not going to overreact to Bitcoin going down 5 to 6%. I'm further emboldened by my bullish bias because when I look around and I look at the altcoins that I've been in, some of them have already recovered and made higher highs, okay? If this was a bear market, you don't do that. In a bear market, when you crash, the altcoins crash more on average, okay? More often than not, the altcoins crash harder than Bitcoin. And when the crashes happen, you don't get a quick recovery. It's like the beginning of a lot more downside, which a lot of people do believe that we're in. But for me, when I look at this, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see a completed impulse, okay? And we're going to look throughout the markets and to see other altcoins, what they look like. But we will see, when we do that, we will see altcoins that have already recovered and made higher highs from yesterday. Meaning, whatever they gave up in that crash, they've gone beyond that to the upside, okay? And we're also going to see really strong support, right? As you can see here, this is a 45, 46-day support line of this rising channel that we're, right now, I believe, printing a reversal pattern on, okay? So I just literally, when that happened yesterday, although I lost 2 trades, I got really excited because I bought more, and not with, fresh influx into my accounts. No, I just used profits and doubled down. So if I had a $10,000 trade, I made it a $20,000 trade, so to speak. Okay, so that's how I see this move, and that's what I'm still expecting. As I said before in my previous analyses, I'm still expecting a huge move before the drawdown of the full moon. The full moon is on the 7th. We're the 3rd. That's in approximately 4 days. We know, according to the research, that 0 to 3 days after the full moon, markets reach their local bottom. Do I think we're going to hang out here for the next 4 to 7 days? No. I think what we're going to do is go up substantially and then draw down to meet that full moon on the 7th. Okay? So that's still my analysis. That's still my outlook on the markets. I'm still extremely bullish. And I do think that the move that we're going to get in the coming hours is going to finally result in that short squeeze. I think we're going to get a short squeeze. It might sound crazy, but I do think that is likely. Okay, lots of longs were squeezed here. I was squeezed here to the long side. It looked like a liquidation cascade, because you literally had Bitcoin coming down 5% in the span of 15 to 30 minutes. Just 2 candles, just like boom, 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 boom. But it makes sense. Look, you're in a channel, you're coming down, you break the midline, which was support, now is resistance. You retest it as resistance, and you come back down, and this is your next level of support. I would be bearish, considerably bearish in the short term if we had broken this, retested it, and done something else like this, and that means a larger move to the downside. But I think a lot of people are thinking that way. A lot of people are thinking, okay, this is the start of the 12K, 9K, 15K, whatever they think, 20K Bitcoin, and they're entering shorts, or they already entered shorts, or they're doubling, tripling down on their shorts, just like I'm doubling, tripling down on my longs. And once we start to move up, they get squeezed out. And that would actually make this move that much easier, because it would be a cascade liquidation of shorts. Okay, so that's my basic take on the markets. I'm going live a lot earlier today just because I have to pick my son up early from school, so that's why. So let's jump down in the smaller time frames and look at what is going on. Guys, I hope you're having a great day. Hope this wasn't too shocking for you. It's always tough when you have big moves. If you're against the move or you're not prepared for it, you always want to, exercise good risk management, even if you do have a strong bias in one direction or the other. That's good trading, right? So put your stops into profit, or put stops, period. Some people don't put stops. But if you're trading spot and you're really strongly bullishly biased, that I don't have stop losses on my spot positions. Okay? I don't see the point. Because eventually, with a high degree of probability, it's going to get to where it needs to go. I don't need to worry about that. But I put stop losses, obviously, on my leverage positions, of which I have many. In any case, I do think that this is a consolidation reversal pattern of some sort. Okay, this apparently proved not to be. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish a consolidation reversal pattern from a distribution pattern. But this we spent forever in, and eventually it broke down. This, I think, if it is indeed a consolidation reversal pattern, it happens quickly, because this move would be pure impulse. So we wouldn't need to spend, days and days and days consolidating the liquidity of this move down. We should just have, a few quick moves and then mark up. Okay, if that's indeed the case, and I think that's what's going to happen. So far, so good. You're showing some strong wicking to the downside, so hammer candles and such. Okay, the other thing I like about that thesis is that if we look at the DXY is still doing what it was doing. It's still playing at resistance. Okay, this magenta box is our main resistance, and well, it's not our main resistance. It's one of our horizontal resistances. This diagonal dotted line is 600 days worth of resistance that the DXY is playing at. Okay, and I think what we're getting here is a distribution pattern, right? I've said this before. If you look at it, you can look at it from here as 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot, right? This is my big A, this is my big B, this is my small a, this is my small b, and this, I believe, is the pivot that just actually formed. You see, yesterday we put in a gap here, you know, and these gaps always fill in the DXY. I've never not seen one fill. I've never seen one not filled, rather. So I was waiting for that to fill. That just filled with this wick. I think that this is my A, this is my B, small a, small b, pivot. I think that's it. I think that's it, okay? And if it is, we're going to see this move down in the next few 15-minute candles, actually, if that count is correct. So that's exciting, and that should obviously translate into a massive move in Bitcoin. We should see this. If that count that I just annotated on the DXY is correct, we should see a massive move to the upside in Bitcoin, okay? And this also, last thing on Bitcoin. Another reason why my analysis is that, another reason why my analysis is that this is not the beginning of a larger downtrend is that, obviously, I'm counting this as a leading diagonal, right? And for those who aren't sure what I'm talking about when I talk about leading diagonals, let's just look at it together. I'm just going to show you. So my main 2 manuals that I use for Elliott Wave are Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair and the Elliott Wave Principle by Bob Prechter and AJ Frost. Okay, so just looking at the Steve Sinclair manual, which is a great beginner manual for Elliott Waves, by the way. You can see here the leading diagonal tenet. Let me just fix the screen here. And guys, don't forget to like the stream if you're getting value. Okay, just waiting for it to load. Okay, here we go. So, as you can see, he counts leading diagonals as a 5-3-5-3-5. I typically see it as a 5-3-5-3-5. It's possible to be a 3-3-3-3-3, according to Bob Prechter and AJ Frost. I've never seen a 3-3-3-3-3 leading diagonal, but we'll get to that in a second because we're also going to look at what Prechter and Frost say about it. But for me, I usually see 5-3-5-3-5, and like I was saying some weeks ago, or maybe some days ago, I forget, I was expecting the 2-wave and the 4-wave to at least respect the phi ratio of the wave 1 and the wave 3, but that's not the case. Here are the rules according to Steve Sinclair, that wave 2 never falls below starting point of wave 1, wave 3 is often the longest but never the shortest, and wave 4 must hold above the start of wave 2. So basically what I said, 2 and 4 can never, it basically has to trend in a certain direction. If it's going up, it all has to go up. If it's going down, it all has to go down. Basically, you have to get higher lows and higher highs, okay? And I think that's what we're getting here. So just looking at what Prechter and Frost say, and I think Prechter and Frost is great, but for more advanced, intermediate high to advanced practitioners or analysts, because it's just confusing if you just jump into Prechter and Frost at first, I think. Let me just look it up really quickly. It's 42, yeah, I remember. Okay, so here you can see that what I said is true. So Bob Prechter thinks it's either 3-3-3-3-3 or 5-3-5-3-5. And what's cool about Bob Prechter is that he clearly states in this book, this is new to him. Like, he wrote 11 editions of this, and he's still saying, this is new to me. Apparently, we found that, I'm not going to bore you with it, but if you want to read it, just go ahead and read it. He says, apparently we found something about leading diagonals being either 3-3-3-3-3 or 5-3-5-3-5, and he basically says they're irregular, and I don't know what to make of them. So it's tricky, right? It's tricky. That's and I appreciate the humility, and this is partially why he's such a good analyst, because he's so open, and he's not, although he's very principled and he knows what he knows, he understands that there's stuff he doesn't know. So he's constantly learning. That's why there are 11 editions of this book. In any case, that was a good lesson for me that I want to share with you all. Okay. The other thing I was saying that I consider when I look at this and see it as complete is that I'm looking at this entire wave as a 1, 2, 3, some sort of complex 1, 2, 3, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So actually an ending diagonal 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, that's how I'm reading Bitcoin. Okay, not the easiest read in the world, but I'm seeing this as a completed zigzag. Okay, so moving on. If this theory, if this trading idea is accurate, we should see other assets also do what I'm saying is happening, right? Because that would mean that, we're in a bull market and altcoins are going to front run the trade, right? So this is the total market cap, total crypto market cap. This is all cryptocurrencies, all, put together. And what do you see? You see a similar thing as what you see in Bitcoin. Okay, you see a move up and you see a corrective move down. I think this wave is kind of much easier to read. You can see 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and then a nice 5 waves down. Okay, I think you can see that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an ending diagonal, and then that's your consolidation pivot, reversal. So I think this is 1 wave, 2 waves, and then this is the 3rd wave up, and then here I think you get the same thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you can see that in the total crypto market cap, and also in the total crypto market cap, you can see you're clearly at support, and you're putting in a reversal pattern at support, which is what we care about, right? If we're bullish, we don't want to see this come down anymore because we are at the support level we need to hold for continuation of the bullish trend. All right, if this is a leading diagonal, this must hold. Okay, so here we can read, even on the smaller time frames, a potential 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. That's your first degree, big A and big B. This is your second degree, and this is your pivot. Okay, that's what I'm reading. Now, let's say this is true. Let's look in the rest of these altcoin markets and see if we haven't had something similar. And when you look, you'll see that although we got this move down, right, from this level, the recovery is quick, and the recovery is almost complete. If anything, the recovery is consolidating at the phi ratio of the drawdown. So what do we know about the phi ratio? In any trend, the phi ratio must be held for it to continue. And obviously the leading diagonals, as Bob Prechter says, actually, if you read it carefully, it's not a trending. Leading diagonals aren't trending. Although they point in one direction and they make higher highs and higher lows in the direction of the trend, they're not technically trending. And this is exactly what I was saying the other day when I said they're more like corrective waves. They're more like a double zigzag. And that's how I like to think of them in my mind, because when I think of trending markets in my mind, I think the phi ratio is respected. And as you can see in this leading diag, if this were a drawdown, this were truly a new, dump where, a lot of analysts think that we're going to much lower levels, okay, in the altcoins, in Bitcoin, then you have to maintain this phi ratio. You have to hold the drawdown has to keep sorry, how do I say this? The drawdown has to be below the phi ratio. You cannot retrace beyond the phi ratio, or else the trend isn't down. Do you see? And so what we're seeing here, if you look carefully in Algorand, and you can see them throughout the market, is you're consolidating right at the phi ratio. And as I typically say on the channel, consolidation at resistance is bullish. Okay? Consolidation at resistance is bullish because what you're doing is you're preparing to potentially break this to the upside, invalidating the trend, because it's not really a trend. What it is just a capitulative move, right, of a larger correction. And you can read capitulative moves quite clearly with volume. Okay, so if you turn on volume, just going back to Bitcoin really quickly, a capitulative move is basically the end move of a corrective pattern. Every corrective pattern ends in impulse, whether that's a 5-wave impulse or a 3-wave impulse, like a zigzag or whatever. It's always impulsive. So if you're talking about an ABC, the C wave's impulsive. WXY, the Y wave's impulsive. WXYXZ, the Z wave's impulsive. So here, I think we've got a WXY, because this is clearly complex, and you got your capitulative volume candle showing you the end of that move. Okay, so we're gonna keep volume on, actually, and we're just going to continue to look at these examples of the trend. First, we're going to identify the corrective pattern, and then we're going to identify the volume, the capitulative volume that signifies the end of that. Okay, so in this case, in Algorand, I have us just completing this flat correction. And so this is the impulse of the flat correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the capitulative volume candle that indicates that this whole thing is complete. So you've been correcting since early February, right? So for about 20 days, you've been correcting, 20 plus days, you've been correcting in Algorand. And now that correction is finished. And that correction has taken place towards the larger resistance of your bear market accumulation. So yeah, that would indicate bullishness. Now, again, you have a nice, massive capitulative candle in Cardano. When you see the volume spike like that, that typically tells you the end of something, okay? I don't use volume too much on this channel just because that's where my analysis has evolved, not to need to see it. I kind of look at price action. I can tell, okay, it's probably it. May have helped me over here when thinking that this was over, but sometimes it's a little tricky because volume is all about what it is in relation to previous volume. So we say that this is capitulative volume because it's clearly bigger than all the other volume. Okay, so in any case, here I also see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 waves completes an impulse. We've been impulsively down since, for about 10 days. And here, for me in Cardano, it's a 3-wave move, a 3-wave move, and a 5-wave move. So that's a flat correction. An A, B, C flat correction that ends here. And after which, you continue. Zooming in, you can see exactly what we're saying about if I'm bearish, I don't like this. If I expect this trend to continue down, I don't like this, because if I pull a Fibonacci retracement level of this massive move down, I can already see that we're consolidating, just like Algorand, at the phi ratio, and we're slightly above that 0.618. That's price saying that it's more likely than not to break it soon, because it's hovering at it, gathering more, reaccumulating at a crucial resistance level. Okay, consolidating at resistance, as it were. All right, moving on. You can see Bonk, which put in a really... I'll just zoom out for a second because I've been talking about this. This does not invalidate this accumulation channel, but it only just barely doesn't. If you look at it, okay? If you take this as your initial breakup structure, and all of this, this is your initial breakup structure. This is your counter, right? So this is your big A. This is your big B. This is your small a. All of this is your small b, okay? So if you pull your Fibonacci retracement level, and this is a sign of weakness, but it's to be expected because this is such a new project and nobody really knows what to make of it. So you don't have strong holders of the asset. So when it dumps, it's going to dump to the maximum extent. And what do you see here? You see you just barely, remember I was talking about the phi ratio being the level that needs to hold for this to be contiguous, or else you can't associate this and this as a correction and counter correction, right? You always work in pairs when you're looking at these corrections. So this is A, and this is just barely holding as B. And then obviously you need to put in a pivot, which I think you're doing now before you move up and complete this accumulation pattern. So I just wanted to show that. And I checked it myself because when it was going down, I was like, oh my God, is it being invalidated? But it just barely not invalidated. And on a smaller time frame, when you look at Bonk, you can see that you did get that nice, large capitulative volume candle that initiated, a pivot. And here what you're getting is a reaccumulation. So it's likely to continue there. And this is likely to prove to be a pivot reversal. Right. Okay. Let me just check. Okay. So Dent, you can see this is an example of an altcoin that has already retraced completely the losses of yesterday evening. Okay, so this was the massive dump. Okay, massive dump, quote unquote. It's significant, but it's not the end of the world. People act like it's the bear market again when we're going down 15, 20, 30% in a few minutes, just casually. It's not that. So if you go down 10%, almost immediately after, the price started recovering. Okay, so I was really busy last night in some of my assets that got stopped out, getting back in, because I was like, okay, if this is going to recover, it's going to do so rather quickly. So I had to snipe some entries. But you can see it's already up 14%. So it dumped 9%, and it's now rallied 14% and made a higher high. And what you're doing here is you're flagging out. So what you're likely doing here is front-running the entire market. This is a low-cap altcoin that is showing you what's likely to happen throughout the rest of crypto. Okay, Bitcoin's likely to do the same things. And this this underscores, or this supports our thesis that this correction, right, that we've been in since early February, or mid-February in this case, right, is just one move, and this was the final move. This was the final 1, 2, 3. Okay, so three wave correction, and in this case, do you know what? I think this was an ending diagonal of some sorts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Okay, but essentially, it is complete. okay, and you do have a relatively large capitulative volume candle here, and you have an even larger candle when you have even larger volume for the trend continuing. So that's also a great sign. If we're just doing a volumetric analysis, so the volume's telling you, okay, that trend is finished. This is the end of the trend. And then when the price goes up and the volume picks up, that's volume convergent. That tells you this is where the price really wants to go. This is where all the buyers for, however long, they're backing that move. They're supporting that move. Volume is useful in disambiguating, where the price is likely going and where the trend from the counter trend. In distinguishing the trend from the counter trend, volume is useful. Volume is useful. It's an indicator, but it's a primary indicator. And not very many people use it, to be honest. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. It's still very, 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 very bullish. And like I said, this is one example of a recovery. Okay, so Dodo is another small cap altcoin, but it hasn't fully recovered. But I believe that if you look on the smaller time frames, you're on the verge of such a recovery, because here, see, volume's tricky. And this is one of the reasons I don't use volume, because I've realized in cryptocurrency, volume is inconsistent because you're dealing with so many different exchanges and so many different low cap altcoins, and sometimes there's just not that much volume. You're getting the price action, you're getting the patterns, but the volume doesn't tell you everything, right? So here you have a bit of volume, but it's not much. To be honest, it's not even close to as big as what you got here. Let's zoom out for a second here. So with Dodo, okay, yesterday I was saying that this was likely a running flat, and it's actually still a running flat because the low set by the A wave is higher than lower than the low set by the final C wave. So it's still a running flat, but I thought we would stop here, okay? But here we go. This is the larger move, in my estimation, and this is the support level that I was talking about yesterday. That's still true, even after this move, you haven't broken support. Kind of like Bitcoin, you haven't broken support. So the thesis, the high time frame bullish thesis remains, for me at least, okay? I know a lot of people are going short. A lot of people are convinced that Bitcoin to 30K is the highest we can see this year. I strongly disagree. I think we're going to go into a massive bull rally, and it's only a matter of time. And so that's why everything I've done in terms of trading has been to prepare for that. I've been like a squirrel, just accumulating like a madman for hundreds of days now. Okay, so this is Dodo, and on the smaller time frames, okay, I'm also seeing a quick little reversal pattern here, okay? I know some people may think that you're getting a wave 4, but it's possible, but unlikely, given that you're already at support. You're already at structural support, right? So I think, if anything, that's your first degree, second degree, maybe your third degree is here, or your pivot rather is here before you continue to move up. Maybe you come down a little more, but I think that this is a reversal pattern. I'm going to sort of rely on the fact that this is a big support level on the chart. Okay. Dogecoin, this is another example of a very strong reaction. Okay, a strong reaction. We're not yet at the phi ratio of the dump for Dogecoin. You can see. But the fact that you're kind of hanging out here And if you turn on your momentum indicator, what do you see? That you see, at least on the small time frame, you reset momentum with the price continuing to go up. So that's bullishly divergent. So you know, when the momentum indicator goes down, typically the price goes down. When the momentum indicator goes down and the price continues to go up, that's bullishly divergent. Okay? And here, with the volume, we can see the capitulative volume. Okay? But that's pretty much it. You don't see much volume in this move going up. But if this is truly a reversal, volume should kick in, right? As this goes up, volume should kick in. Okay. So that's Dogecoin. Ethereum, again, I would be more bullish than bearish, just on the small time frame, only because every time your momentum indicator is coming down, the price hardly comes down. Okay, so that tells me it's more likely than not bullishly divergent on the small time frame. On the higher time frames, you can see that so the hourly is moving up, the 4-hourly momentum indicator is about to cross bullish. And most importantly, for Ethereum, just like for Bitcoin, you're in this rising channel at support. Okay, so I think this is what we're looking at with the Ethereum. So this channel I didn't have to change; it was the same. We went up and down, up and down. Now this I thought was going to hold because this is the phi ratio of this move up. Okay, but what we put in was, so Ethereum also proved that these counter waves don't respect the phi ratio of the preceding move. So if this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4 came down, you know, like a flat correction, which I think it is, right? If it's a double zigzag, it's probably some sort of, no, it wouldn't be a double zigzag. It would be 2 flat corrections because a zigzag has to respect the phi ratio, right? So it would be not a WXYXZ. Yeah, it would be a WXYXZ, exactly. But not a double zigzag, just a regular run-of-the-mill flat correction. So yeah, in any case, this is a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think this is a 3 through 5 flat. You have your volume capitulation. You're about to cross bullish on your 4-hourly time frame, which is significant. You're completely oversold on your daily time frame, and you're putting in, well, it's not bullishly divergent, but you're about to cross. You've crossed bullish on your 4-hourly time frame, which is important. So high time frame, you're really, really, really bullish. There's no bearishness, there's no bearish divergence, which is important. And then the small time frame, you're resetting as you're going up. So I think this is going to continue to the upside, much like some of the other altcoins that have already done that. Litecoin, okay, we've gotten the capitulative volume candle. We went up and sideways, okay, but I think that you go up and sideways and then you continue to go up, because I think this move is going to go into pure impulse. So on the high time frame, what's it look like? On the high time frame, I think what you got here was a sort of triple three. 3 waves up, or 3 waves down, 3 waves up. No, this is a zigzag. This is a double 3. This is a 5, 3, 5. That's a zigzag. Okay, so I think this is a WXY. In any case, this is one contiguous corrective pattern that's completed right here. So at the end of the day, you're holding support. Okay, and this is what you want to see. This is what you're really analyzing. Like, what are you doing? You can go up and down ad infinitum as long as you're holding support. Your bullish bias shouldn't change. Technically, you should continue to go up, which is what I think you're going to do. not just in Litecoin, but in a lot of these other assets. Okay, RSR, same thing. Look at where you're finding support. Okay, we tagged this level as a support level, right? But we wicked below it a little bit, and that's fine. That's okay. But what's really cool is that we've said for quite a while it would be interesting and it would be likely that you find support at this level. Why? Because this is your 600-day resistance flipped to support, and this is your 300-day resistance flipped to support. And you didn't really retest it. And what did you do here with this 335 flat correction? You retested both of those. So RSR, perfect retest of those levels. Let me check something. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check something. Okay, I just wanted to check. Like, I really like that setup. And I just wanted to see, because yesterday I had to re-enter like 9 different trades, so I couldn't, spend the longest time looking over every single entry, and I did this, relatively quickly, but I'm so much more confident in this entry and this setup than I was yesterday. I did the same analysis yesterday when I entered the trade, entered the long around here, but now I'm like, this is so obvious. Like, you can leverage like crazy to the upside and just hide in this region, which I did, but I didn't leverage as much. I was kind of conservative with my leverage here, which is fine. It's okay. Yeah, I did well. Okay, moving on. Did we look at the small time frames? We didn't here. Yeah, it looks much like, what you see in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like I said, you're resetting your momentum to the downside, all while maintaining this higher high, right? You just made a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is very bullish for continuation to the upside, okay? In all of this, understand that you're not moving anywhere without the DXY coming down. And the DXY is looking to do that. I think it's done playing sooner than later because it's oversold on the 15-minute time frame. That gap is filled. It's oversold on the 15-minute time frame. The hourly time frame is coming up, and in the next couple hours it's probably going to be oversold finally. The 4-hourly time frame is already in oversold territory, so you're likely to get that move sooner than later. The daily time frame is cross bearish and going down. Okay, so yeah, that is the DXY. Back to reserve rights and our altcoins. And if you have any altcoins you want me to look at, just let me know. Okay, so that's good. Moving on. Okay, SHIB. This to me was a run-of-the-mill WXY. Okay? Actually, when it happened, it made sense. This was a level that we were looking at. Okay, it wicked a little bit below, but it's still pretty much where we thought it would go. And at the same time, you also see that you're consolidating at resistance. So all this activity, ever since mid-January, is happening at resistance. really, really, really good. If you're bullish for continuation, you want to consolidate at resistance. That helps eventually break the resistance. On the smaller time frames, let's actually jump down into the 15-minute. You see your capitulative volume candle right there, and you can see exactly what you're seeing in a lot of these other assets. You made a higher high, or not a higher high yet, but you made a higher low, okay? And you're basically playing around, and the momentum is resetting. You're going to get that move to make the higher high, very likely, okay? Which would, sort of catapult you in to the next impulsive move, okay? This is another example of an asset that has made a higher high and that has already recovered all its losses from yesterday. Okay, you can see synthetics dumped how much? So yesterday synthetics came down about 10%, 11%, and it's now back, back up to that level almost exactly, and consolidating at that level while having made. So as it goes up to that level, you see the momentum go all the way down. The momentum has gone down in this consolidation at resistance, okay, because this is obviously resistance. You consolidate it at resistance while resetting your momentum. That's huge for bullish continuation. So I think synthetics, Dent, some other assets on my watch list are showing us what's likely to come. This is a bull market. This is an altcoin season. You have altcoins like these front running the trend. Okay, this is a proof of Bitcoin dominance coming down and your bull market just getting, resuming essentially, because our thesis on this channel is that January 1st, December 31st, most of these assets were in a bull market. And don't forget, guys, there's a lot of panic, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of fear in the markets, but that shouldn't surprise you because that's typically in those those are typically the climates in which we get markups. You don't get markups when everybody's expecting it typically, right? Typically, it catches people unawares. And so you've been going up ever since. And what have you done since? You've just been consolidating above major resistance, okay? Above major resistance, meaning you've created support level, and now you're likely to continue. So this is really, really, really bullish, right? If you zoom out, I still don't see bearishness. I know it sounds crazy maybe, and nobody's saying it maybe, and everybody's bearish and waiting for these assets to go to zero, and they're waiting for a bull market to only happen for a year on out, closer to the halving. But I just don't see it. The charts are telling me that all of this consolidation, as annoying as it is, all this consolidation, as annoying and tedious as it is exactly what you want to see if you're bullish, because you're breaking major resistance, turning it into support, and dancing on the grave of prior resistance before marking up. This is a reaccumulation. All of this sideways action for I don't know how long, 2 weeks, you just basically are gathering liquidity for an even larger markup. So I'm really, really excited for that. Let's continue on. Okay. So Tron, we've drawn this out, and exactly what levels we thought would be support are still support, okay? Yesterday you did get a wick below here, but you've quickly regained that level, okay? And that level was the top of this rising wedge that was broken up and then retested as support. And so yesterday I was saying this was the retest, but clearly it wasn't. I think you just got another wave down to the same place. So instead of a WXY, Here you're looking at a WXYXZ. Okay, that's all it is to me. Nothing's really changed. You just retested a level once more. Okay, on your smaller time frame, you have a nice reversal pattern, which is a quintessential reversal pattern. Obviously, I'm talking about the inverse head and shoulders, with your right shoulder being higher than your left shoulder, which is very bullish. Okay, and at the same time, you can see your momentum indicator is completely oversold. That is a really good sign for continuation to the upside. You have your capitulative volume candle showing you that this was the move to complete that 333 WXYXZ. Okay, so Tron's still really, really bullish. I'm still really, really excited about it. This is one of my largest holdings, just because, I mean, it did like 600 days of down and downwards consolidation in a triangle. I'm so excited about this one. Okay, XRP. Again, you're basically consolidating at the phi ratio of the drawdown. So if you take the drawdown from here, you can see that you've come up to the phi ratio and you're consolidating at resistance of the phi ratio. So you should expect that to be broken, which would invalidate that being a new trend. Okay, you have your capitulative volume candle, as you can see there. Okay, and then on the higher time frames, you're pretty much just playing above crucial support. Okay, this is crucial support, the midline of the channel, if I've drawn it correctly. But let's say I haven't. We're going to use this as a 5 waves up and this as a 3 waves down. So you're essentially putting in a zigzag. So if you take your Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom of this move right here to the top, you can see that you're holding mathematical support here. 5 waves up, 3 waves down, you're at the golden pocket between the 0.5 and the 618, and now you're likely getting a reversal. So yeah, this trade is well into profit and was, free and clear, no problems. I expect it to go much higher from here. Okay, Zilliqa. You can kind of see what happened here. You've got a rising channel, and you kind of wicked above and came all the way back down to the base of the channel. You're still holding support, okay? You're still holding support. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, the rising channel, although it can break down in context of the fact that what precedes it is a markup from crucial support, you're more likely than not going to get a move like this, making it a bull flag rather than some sort of reversal pattern, even though it's rising. So that's what I'm seeing in Zilliqa in the high time frame, small time frame. Obviously, you got that massive capitulative volume candle, and subsequent to that, you haven't reached the phi ratio yet, but it's looking very promising for reversal. Again, you have a zeroing out of your momentum indicators, and you seem like you're putting in that consolidation reversal pattern. This is interesting, really interesting. Look what happened in VeChain almost immediately after it dumped. Look at this. If people went short on VeChain, immediately they got stopped out immediately. So that actually was one of the signs. I was like, okay, I've got to be very careful here to get an entry sooner than later. I can't wait, because price is saying, oh, okay, great. I'm glad that's over with. Now let's start reversing so I can continue the trend where I want to go. Look at this initial break of structure. The initial break of structure itself almost invalidated the drawdown just by itself. So you know that there's really strong buying pressure in this asset. So I thought that was interesting. On the higher time frame for VeChain, again, this is a consolidation at resistance, right? The resistance is the larger channel. This is like a 600-day channel, by the way, in VeChain. You came up and you came back down to retest the resistance of your previous resistance as support, okay? And so I think this is just a matriculation up in that way. You're flipping previous resistances, which this clearly was, broke it, retesting it as support. Yeah, you got a bit of a wick down below that level, but I think you're continuing. So I think that's what you're looking at. And obviously, this is a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a zigzag. Oh, did I say 1, 2, 3? Let's see. Yeah, this is a zigzag. This is a pivot, and this is the move right here. As I read it, 5, 3, 5, like that. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, you see on the 4-hourly time frame, you're not only crossed bullish. Yeah, you're cross bullish. I don't think you have bullish divergence, but you're cross bullish. Okay, theta. Okay, just like everything else, it hasn't done much of anything but put in a complex flat correction that I think begins here. W, X, Y, X, Z. I think this is a 333 rising channel. And you came down to the support of this rising channel, and you put in a cumulative volume candle on the small time frames. You put in a proper range, like a proper orthogonal accumulation range on the small time frames, as you can see. 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot, almost a textbook Wyckoff accumulation pattern right there, as it seems. So I do expect this to break up. So what do we have here? Yeah, and the most notable thing about this is the following. This, remember, is a massive resistance that you broke, okay? Like, at the end of the day, if you want to be bearish, you have to then ignore the fact that this entire time, right, that you were in this consolidation channel since May of 2022, so for about 300 days, you were in this channel. You broke it to the upside, and this was the retest. All of this WXYXZ, was a retest of the top of this channel. So I just can't be bearish there, because you're retesting previous resistance as support. To each his own, and to each their own. I'm going to do what I do. And thus far, being bullishly biased has helped a lot, and has... It is made, it could make you a lot of money with doing minimal work, People are trading in and out of the markets, but really, if you follow the trend, even despite some of these drawdowns, which, to be honest, only my trades where I entered in the past 2 weeks, if most of my trades I've entered, for the past few months, so they weren't affected even in the least by this drawdown. But some I entered recently for some reasons or another, and they were affected, which is fine. You win some, you lose some, but in the aggregate, you win big by reading the trend. And I think it's not even begun to really pay off. It obviously has paid off, but this is nothing compared to what we're going to see. Okay, so Telcoin is another one that I think is massively bullish, right? Obviously, again, I would use the same reasoning with what I said about theta. You broke this 600-day resistance, and you just retested it as support. There's no bearishness there. Only thing would be bearish is if you started breaking down from this completely, then that's bearish. But here, I mean, there's nothing but bullishness. And on the small time frames, you're putting in a very nice consolidation reversal pattern right here. Okay, it's not very bearish. Okay, if you're bullish, if you're bearish rather, and you get a move and then you get another move that takes so much longer than that initial move, you know that it's unlikely to be a wave 1, wave 2 situation. Because if you're bearish, what you want to see is wave 1, impulse, wave 2 comes up, retests the phi ratio or the golden pocket in the same amount of time, more or less, as it took to come down. And then more bulls get trapped, and then you go down for lower lows. That's not what's happening. This is the end of the move, not the beginning. I think most people are misreading this, and this is why I'm saying that I think we're going to get a massive short squeeze, even larger than the long squeeze, right? The long squeeze was not that bad. I mean, it was, to be honest, 200 million, 250 million, something like that. The short squeeze is going to be a lot worse because more people have been bearish for much longer. Okay, Matic is another one. You see your capitulative volume candle. You also see consolidation towards the phi ratio, and you're putting in what seems to be a reversal pattern there. And you're actually... No, that's not bullish divergence. Okay, DYDX. Same thing. Capitulative volume. Putting in some sort of reversal pattern. Higher time frame. Very bullish. Look, high time frame. You're above that bear market consolidation zone. And you're putting in this flat correction, which to me seems like a 3 waves up. Or 3 waves down, 3 waves up. 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 5 waves down. So that's a triple 3, WXYXZ. Okay. I thought it was done here. Apparently that was off, and that's fine. At the end of the day, look what happened. Your support level is unchanged. Right? Whether you thought this was the end, this was the end, or this was the end, the support level is unchanged. That's really, really bullish. You can basically go up and down and up and down and up and down and still maintain the same support level. So, yeah, to each their own. I just don't see the bearish case for this if you zoom out. Obviously, a lot of people are zoomed in. They're on their 5-minute, 3-minute charts. And this means the world to them, getting a 6% move to the downside. But, to be honest, I think it pales in comparison to what's coming in the immediate short term. Here in Harmony, you see 3 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves. Okay, I think this is some type of flat correction right there. Yeah, it could be a... Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it must be. Okay, must be some sort of flat correction where this is the wave 4. Okay, I thought this was the reversal, but it was wave 4. Okay, which is fine. It's happened before. Probably is going to happen again. Wave 4 is tricky, and that's actually one of the things about wave 4. You think, most market participants think wave 4 is the end of the trend, when it's the penultimate move, right? The move before the last. In any case, capitulative volume candle, smaller time frame. Harmony 1 is playing at that phi ratio of the drawdown. Okay. You come up, you come down, and then you come up, and you just make higher lows. That is, I've been the trader that's like, ooh, now we're gonna go short, and I'm ready, and okay, let me just get out and take profit when we come back down, and we never come back down. So I would not be surprised if this continued to the upside like that. Okay. Yeah, people overreact. I mean, that's just the nature of social media. That's just the nature of, things these days. People make reactions. It's an attention-driven economy. So anything happens, they're going to make a big deal about it. But if you're trading and you're serious about trying to take advantage of the big moves, then I don't think one should overreact about this. If anything, this should be an opportunity. And, if you're protected against this, you protect yourself against this. Like, zoom out and look at what's more likely than not to happen after this. I think that's where the real money is made. Whatever happens after this, okay? If it was bearish and we did continue to the downside, then that would be significant. That would be a great money-making opportunity. However, if this proves to be what I believe it is, the end of a consolidation, the end of a reaccumulation, then that is also actually even bigger of a money-making opportunity. MOVR, Moon River, Moonbeam, whatever the hell it is, I don't remember, and I'm not going to commit that to memory. I just hate the names. They're so confusing, unnecessarily so. Come on, Polkadot, do better. This is a nice reversal pattern. There's no way in hell that this is any kind of wave 2 correction. If you're bearish, then you want this to be a wave 2 correction. This is already way too lengthy to be a wave 2 correction. Or you want it to be a wave 4 correction, right? Where this was wave 1, wave 2 somewhere, wave 3, wave 4, and then you continue, right? Something like that. But it's unlikely to be either. Because if it was a wave 4, you would be looking at some sort of very strange zigzag, perhaps. But it doesn't work because you've already broken the phi ratio, and you're testing the phi ratio in a lot of these assets. So it just doesn't work mathematically to be that. Higher time frame. What's it look like? Okay, you're retesting resistance as support. Okay, we put the level here, and this can be considered a wick down below the level, okay? Not a complete breach of said level. Okay, that was the resistance because you came up here and you clearly had trouble. You broke it. You retested it. I think this is just a dip or wick below the resistance liquidity grab, as it were. And here, I think you have a zigzag. It's a pretty nasty impulse, but it is just that. Okay, chain link. I think this is your flat correction. It's an ugly looking flat correction, but it's a flat correction at the end of the day. I think this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending diagonal, and then you got 3 waves, and then a 5 wave, or no, a zigzag. I think your impulse is a zigzag, okay? But in any case, I think this is the trend. This is a counter trend. This is all corrective, by the way. So I would say this is a zigzag. W, X, and then I'm expecting Y. Small time frames. You definitely have your capitulative volume candle. This is very prominent. And like a lot of other assets, you're playing at that phi ratio. I'm just eyeballing it, by the way. Okay, Polkadot. This is really showing a lot of strength, very strong reaction. subsequent to the dump, and you came right to that phi ratio and said, this is not a trend that I'm establishing. This is the end, and now this is a new trend. This is the resumption of the uptrend. Came right to the phi ratio, and basically you're consolidating at the phi ratio, showing all the strength in the world, right? This is looking very bullish. Polkadot is very bullish. On the higher time frames, you're above resistance. So you're finding resistance as support. And I think you put in... Okay, I think this is an ending diagonal right here. And I think this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I think you put in a pretty big zigzag, which probably goes from here to there. So you're basically setting up for a huge move to the upside, right? This is going to happen sooner than later, and most people are going to be caught unawares. It's going to happen where you get hundreds of percent, gains of hundreds of percent in a lot of these altcoins, and people are just going to be beside themselves. But to be honest, I mean, we're not geniuses. It's just the higher time frame analysis is pretty straightforward. You are under major resistance, right, for a couple or a few hundred days, or here, yeah, a few hundred days, since May. You broke it, retested it as support. What do you expect? That's what you're getting next. If this had come down substantially below and made a lower low, then okay, we'd probably say this is a reversal of some sort. But you can see right here, you're basically holding this trend, right? You're correcting, all the while holding the larger trend, you see what I mean, of the resistance. Very bullish. Very, very, very bullish. Key, this is another example of an altcoin that has already recovered, okay? It recovered very quickly. So this is a small cap altcoin in a bull market. Small cap altcoins rule the day. They forecast, they pretend they are the bellwethers, right? They're the trendsetters, the trailblazers of what the market will do. Why? Because they're low cap, right? They are more volatile than Bitcoin. They're more volatile than high cap, medium caps. And so if you want to spy on what's likely coming next, it's the small caps that are going to show you what happened after yesterday's dump. Okay, this altcoin Key dumped about 14%. Okay, which is more than what Bitcoin did, but it's so small cap, then that's not that's relatively insignificant, to be honest. Very, very soon, subsequent to that drawdown, you got a quick and very intense reaction where you made a higher high, okay? And you can see here, you have an impulse that's made a higher high, and what you're currently putting in is a retest of your previous resistance that you couldn't break and that resulted in the dump as support. So if you're bearish, and I show you this example, you must hate it. The only way you can explain this is if you say, oh, this is just a rogue asset that's going to do its own thing and enter its bull run. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency markets are going to dump down to zero. But that's unlikely, all right? So our bullish thesis is illustrated very beautifully by these small cap altcoins like Self-Key, which I hold on spot. Okay, Litentry is another small cap altcoin, not as small cap as Self-Key, but you can see more or less that what happened in Key and what's happening in a lot of other altcoins is happening here. You're playing at that phi ratio. You're consolidating at the phi ratio. You're likely to break the phi ratio. Okay. On a higher time frame, you can see that you did wick down to support levels, but you didn't break support. Okay. This teal box is your support. Why is it your support? Because it was your resistance here quite clearly. You came above that. Sorry, you came above that here, and actually you came up impulsively and then you retested it. There's nothing more to be said. That's support and resistance. Up in 5, down in 3, now you continue. So this is a zigzag where your ultimate wave is going to be pure impulse. Very bullish. But I know everybody's going to see something different. Everybody has different ideas. That's the beauty of this space of trading. You know, everybody puts their ideas to the test, and at the end of the day, we see who's right. You know, and I think the trick is you don't want to concern yourself so much with the small battles. You want to win the wars, and the wars are, what's the trend? If you can find a trend, capitalize on the trend. That's where the money's made. You know, your hedge funds and your big players, they don't concern themselves with these little moves here and there. They want to capitalize on the trends. So just looking at Bitcoin now to finish up, we're back on the small time frames. We're putting in a consolidation at these levels, continually resetting these momentum indicators. On the hourly time frame, we're cross bullish, but we're already in oversold territory. But more importantly, on the 4-hourly time frame, we just crossed bullish and we're completely oversold. So do expect that move up come sooner than later, and do expect it to be explosive, because a lot of people are not positioned to take advantage of it. You know, a lot of people right now are short, right? And we can just have a quick look. Long versus shorts. You can see. Okay, let's look at 24 hours. So most people in the past 24 hours are clearly short. Past 12 hours, short. Past 4 hours, short. So what I take from this is that there's a lot of short orders put in the market on the order blocks. A lot of stop losses, right? Above where we're at, a lot of liquidations above where we're at, a lot more than even, you know, the longs where we just liquidated on the downside. And we can see that on the smaller time frames, people are starting to get bullish. But you can't just up and get out of your position unless you sell them. So once we start going up, I think we get that liquidation in the opposite direction, a short squeeze. Hey Akanksha. Akanksha says hello. It is a mess on Twitter right now. Yeah, Twitter's always fun, isn't it? Your live stream saves us. No, not at all. You guys save yourselves, because, you know, this is just an opinion, one of many, and you have to see sense in it for it to make sense for you. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people know that you have the option of being bullish or bearish, and for some people it doesn't make sense for them to be bullish because of Silvergate, because of the macroeconomics and the US Fed and all that stuff, right? So everybody kind of decides. So Kangsha says, could you look at Harmony 1 chart? Want to accumulate more? Should I wait for a lower range or buy some more right now? Actually, I spoke of Harmony, but I can go over it again really quickly. And this is actually something I got into yesterday, because this was one of those that I got stopped out on and I had to get back in. And this is, I think, going to be really, really fun. So really quickly, just looking at Harmony, I don't think you're going to get an opportunity to go any lower, personally. Why? Because what I see on this chart right here, a few things. Let's get rid of the volume because we don't need it right now. But just looking at, forgetting all the lines, looking at the price action, there's a lot of activity here, okay? And then a little activity here, kind of proving that that's a level of activity. So we went up quite strongly since, January 1st, the start of 2023. We came down in a flavor of 3 waves, and we stopped right where we should have stopped based off of the previous price action, based off of, 300 days of price action, right? This is a level, a clear level that was resistance flipped into support. And what makes me more sort of confident that this is a great entry point of support is that, again, this is a 1, 2, 3 wave move. Now, I zoom in. So that's my thesis, just looking at it and saying, okay, maybe that's true. Let's see. Going in, I see that, yes, indeed, I have 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 3, 3, 5. That's a flat correction. Okay, so I have a level, just looking at support and resistance. Technically, I have my flat correction, and I'm counting 5 waves here, right? I thought I had 5 waves here, but obviously that was wrong, and that's fine. But I'm counting 5 waves here. So what do I do? I simply look for continuation. So I zoom in even more because I'm a degen, so I'm trading this on leverage. And I need to make sure my entry is really precise, lest I'm stopped out once more, right? So I look at this as my initial break of structure. Worst case scenario, if that's the initial break of structure right here, okay, this may be it, but I'm always taking worst case scenario for risk management. If that's my initial break of structure, the maximum retracement is my phi ratio for any B wave down, and then whatever happens, if that is to happen. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It could just be that something like this. It could do something like that. I don't know. Way too many permutations and combinations. But the way I trade this is my worst case scenario. This is my phi ratio. I hide everything beyond or behind that phi ratio. And I'm just going to check that I did do that. Let's see. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Right? Sometimes you know something and then you don't do it. So I just have to check. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. And so I sleep easy knowing that highly likely, if this indeed is support based off of my trading plan, that whatever happens here in terms of reversal, we're not going to come beyond this 1618. So I want to buy anything here as the bottom. So that's pretty much it with Harmony. And just like these other assets, I'm not surprised if in some hours, because we're entering the weekend, so I don't expect that too much will happen after the close of the DXY. So I'm looking at the next few hours for potentially a major move up and out of this, which would essentially be the breakout of this massive inverse head and shoulders. You're probably going to come up to here and then hang out here for a bit before going back. So I wouldn't be surprised if you came up there and so put in a 60% move or something like that. Yeah, probably put in a 60 to 70% move and then a bit of a retracement before continuation. Because you can't just blow by this, right? Because price has shown that this level is to be respected. So I would say 60 to 70% in the coming hours, and then maybe some sort of weekend retracement to retest this as support, or maybe you break it. I don't know. Maybe you do something like that. So maybe 100%, and then you come back down, and then you continue. Something like that. I don't know. So yeah, if I was in Harmony, not financial advice, I would get in now. That's what I did. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, DXY looks great for rejection, and we've been waiting for it, and I think we're finally getting it, right? These fucking distribution channels take forever sometime, but they eventually play out. You're not breaking this resistance. You're not reaccumulating at this resistance. This is a rejection. This is a distribution. Just because it's proven every time it's wicked above it, it's been rejected, right? So that's like your swing failure pattern. This is just a proof positive that whatever you're doing at these levels is distributive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think myself and most everyone else in this market, well, most people that aren't in shorts, are expecting and anticipating a move up, or would be surprised, or not surprised, but would be happy to see a move up, right? But yeah, the smarter than your average bear types who trade the 5-minute charts, the scalpers are probably not happy because they're probably really excited. When you win a trade, you get excited for more. So if you won this trade and you were short, you're like, ooh, I got a 6% trade, I want more. So they're probably really, really excited about this being a continuation of some sort. But yeah, I don't see it, at least on the higher time frames. Even if we dip down like this, I think it's going to be one of these, with proof that there's a lot of buying pressure here. So if we got to move down, it's a quick move, showing a hammer candle. So guys, that's it for me. Today's a day where I have to pick my son up early from school. So I will see you tomorrow, hopefully with a nice bullish update for Saturday. All right, take care. Have a nice weekend.